What's up, NRBC? Hey, we're shooting some video tonight. You're probably wondering, why do I have all this out? Let's jump right into that. So we did a tasting back in July, and I'm just getting to film it, so I apologize. But we did the Evan Williams 12-year against a tried and true Evan Williams Bottled and Bond. Which one won? Stay tuned to find out. A little bit of a history real fast before we get started, though. So, Heaven Hill Distillery is a private American family-owned and operated distillery founded in 1935 and headquartered in Bardstown, Kentucky. It produces and markets the Heaven Hill brand of Kentucky straight bourbon whiskey, and most people don't know this, but it is the only large family-owned, operated, headquartered in Kentucky. Not counting Brown-Forman Corporation, which is publicly traded but has more than two-thirds family controlled, or Sazerac Company, which is family-owned but it's actually headquartered in Louisiana. Most people don't know that. So, Heaven Hill was founded by several investors shortly after the repeal of Prohibition in 1935, including a prominent distiller, Joseph L. Bean, and a member of the Shapira family. So as the company developed, the five brothers of the Shapira family bought out most of the other investors. Joe Beam remained as the master distiller along with his youngest son, Harry. So descendants of the Shapira brothers still own and operate the company today. All of the makers' distilleries at Heaven Hill since its founders have been members of the Beam family. All of the Heaven Hill bourbon is made of a mash bill comprised of 78% corn, 10% rye, and 12% malted barley. The barrels used for aging have a number 3 char, and prior to bottling, the whiskey is chill filtered through charcoal at 25 degrees Fahrenheit. All whiskeys is filtered before bottling to remove particles from the barrel. Chilled filtering is more of a refining process usually performed to remove chemical compounds like fatty acids that can clump together at low temperatures, creating a cloudiness or haze in the whiskey. So this clumping, which is usually called flocking or flock, generally occurs only in whiskeys that are below 46% alcohol by volume, which is the flock point. So, although some brands like Jim Beam chill filter up to 50% ABV in order to play it safe, the whiskey is chilled and then run through a series of filters and eliminates these particles. So filters can be made of anything from paper to metal to charcoal, which is actually what Heaven Hill uses to chill filter their bourbons. All right, so why am I talking about Heaven Hill Distillery when I have 2 Evan Williams bottles in front of me? Well, this is why. Because there's a laundry list of other bourbons that Heaven Hill makes that most people don't really know about. So, as you can see here, you have Evan Williams, Elijah Craig, you have Larceny, you have the Henry McKenna, J.W. Dant, J.T.S. Brown. And then there's a lot of the other harder to get ones like the Parker Heritage and the oh so famous and the oh so fantastic Old Fitzgerald bourbon. This is a 14-year right here. All right, so enough with the history. Let's get into the battle of the 2 bottles, which is these. This is truly the David versus Goliath showdown right here, right? You have the almighty Evan Williams 12-year, which was known for years as a red label Evan Williams export-only bourbon that was sold exclusively in Japan. However, since the opening of the Evan Williams experience in Louisville, Kentucky in 2013, consumers have the option to purchase the Evan Williams 12 at the distillery. The bourbon has remained a distillery exclusive in the U.S. while still being exported to Japan. So, we put these up against the tried and true classic budget bourbon of the Evan Williams Bottled and Bond. Now, we know since it's a Bottled and Bond that it's at least a 4-year age statement and it's bottled at 100 proof. So, while these bourbons are exactly the same in the bottle, Heaven Hill decided to make the product look more upscale to match its exclusiveness in the States. What that means in execution is that they just put a nice, pretty gold wax on the top and called it a day. beneath the shine is still the same bottle of the Evan Williams, screw top and all. It's minor in nature, yet when the bottle, you hold it in your hand to any other really limited release bourbons, it just kind of feels cheap, right? I mean, even their own distillery, you have these 3-year releases, or 3 per year releases. The bottles just look better, right? So whatever, it is what it is. So all right, let's get into some tasty notes of these two exclusively. So what you have here from this was the club. So again, we actually had 15 guys this night. So there was a lot of scores on these. But the tasty notes for the Evan Williams 12, you had charred oak, you had vanilla, caramel, you had some rye spice, you had some graham crackery, smell. On the palate, it was some sweet caramel. One guy said unsweet tea. I didn't get that, but hey, whatever. Everyone has their own notes. We got some honey. On the finish was some cinnamon, some rye spice, some white peppercorn, and it was also very dry. I'll get into the scoring in a second. And then on to the Evan Williams Bottled Bond. It was a sugary sweetness. You had some vanilla, some gingerbread, some candied dark fruits, some slight ethanol. Then you had some burnt brown sugar on the palate, some light heat, and some black pepper. Finish was a little slight oak, and it was a medium to long finish. So overall, the club scored the Evan Williams 12-year at a 78.7, and believe it or not, they scored the budget bourbon Bottled and Bond Evan Williams at 79.1. So it didn't beat it by a lot, but it beat it by enough. So remember, more expensive bourbon doesn't always make it the better bourbon, right? This is $150, only sold in Louisville at Evan Williams. You get this $20 budget bourbon that you can find any and everywhere, and it is just as good. So you guys decide which one you guys want on your shelf or which ones you want to drink. So there it is, guys. Thanks. Thanks for tuning in. As always, please like and subscribe. Watch our videos. Go and follow us on Facebook and Instagram. I hope this helped because, again, like I said, this is a very expensive bottle. It's very exclusive to Kentucky. Not many people are going out there and getting these bottles. This everyday cheap bottle you can find everywhere you go is fantastic. So I hope you guys like this review. And as always, bourbon looks great on the shelf, but it tastes even better in your glass. Thanks, guys.